There is one name that echoes through all of human history, a name that promises a lost, golden age, a perfect civilization, an island continent of godlike kings, advanced technology, and unimaginable wealth, a paradise that ruled the world. And then, in a single day and night of misfortune, it vanished, swallowed by the sea. Atlantis. But was it real? Or is it the greatest lie ever told? Tonight, we unseal the file on the lost city of Atlantis. The entire legend of Atlantis comes from one source, the Greek philosopher, Plato. Without him, the name Atlantis would not exist. He wrote about it in two of his dialogues, the Timaeus and the Critias. He claimed the story was ancient history, passed down to him from Solon, who heard it from an Egyptian priest. The priest told him of a mighty power that existed 9,000 years before their time. A continent-sized island located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. It was in the Atlantic Ocean. It was Atlantis. Plato's description was incredibly specific. The capital city was a marvel of engineering, built in perfect concentric rings of land and water connected by canals. The walls were covered in a mysterious metal called orichalcum, which gleamed with the red light. It was a utopia of philosophers and engineers. But according to Plato, this divine nature faded. The Atlanteans became corrupt, greedy, and arrogant. They were filled with unrighteous avarice and power. They built a massive army and waged war on the entire Mediterranean, including Plato's own city, Athens. This hubris angered the gods. Zeus gathered the other gods and passed judgment. There occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis disappeared into the depths of the sea. And for 2,000 years, that was it. The story was over. Most scholars agreed it was just an allegory, a morality tale invented by Plato to warn Athens about the dangers of pride. Until this man, Ignatius Donnelly, a U.S. congressman and amateur scientist. In 1882, he published his book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. Donnelly argued that Plato's story was not an allegory. It was literal history. He claimed Atlantis was the mother civilization, the source of all human culture from the Egyptians to the Mayans. How else, he argued, could both cultures have pyramids? How could both have mummification, unless they both learned it from a common ancestor? Atlantis. Donnelly's book ignited the modern obsession. Soon, everyone was finding Atlantis. The sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce, claimed he was a reincarnated Atlantean. He prophesied that proof of Atlantis would be found near Bimini in the Bahamas. And in 1968, this was found. The Bimini Road, an underwater road of perfectly cut stones, or, as geologists claim, just natural beach rock. The search for Atlantis is the search for a real place that matches Plato's clues. And there are two prime suspects. Theory 1. The Minoan eruption in Santorini. This is the scientific favorite. 3,600 years ago, a real, advanced island civilization, the Minoans, did exist. Their island home, Thera, now Santorini, was destroyed by one of the largest volcanic eruptions in human history. The eruption and tsunami wiped out the Minoans. An entire advanced civilization vanished in a single day. It perfectly matches the story, just not the location. Theory 2. The Richat structure, or the Eye of the Sahara. This is the modern internet favorite. In Mauritania, Africa, there is a massive geological formation that perfectly matches Plato's description of the capital city. Perfect concentric rings of land and water, now dry. The measurements are almost identical to Plato's text. The problem? It's not an island. It's not in the Atlantic. And it didn't sink. It's a natural rock formation. Unless the entire Sahara was once an ocean? Which brings us back to Plato. We search the globe for a physical place, but we ignore the one man who told us the story. Plato's point was not, look at this cool sunken city. Plato's point was, look at Athens. He invented Atlantis as the perfect villain, rich, arrogant, imperialist, so that his city, ancient Athens, could be the perfect hero, moral, simple, pure. The greatest irony is that we ignored Plato's moral and fell in love with the villain. We are still obsessed with Atlantis. The search itself is the enigma, a file on a city that may never have existed, but will never stop being hunted. The file remains unsealed. We post new investigations every single day. Subscribe to Unsealed. The dark files are waiting.